Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome to the family. My name is Nyasha and today I have filmed a makeup look for you. So I did this makeup look for my birthday and the girlies were asking me, you guys were DMing me. You loved when I posted my makeup content on my Instagram, on my TikTok and on my YouTube shorts as well. So I thought, what not better way to come on here and give you guys the full detail tutorial. And also I did a poll and you guys actually said you wanted the soft glam look this Sunday, so I thought, why not, let me film it for you. The main star of the show, of course, shout out to Miss Danessa, Myricks. Wow, this is the look that we got in this video. So if you want to know how I got this look and the tips and tricks that I've learned with my makeup for a soft glam look, make sure you stay tuned. So the first step is skin prep. Skin prep is so important. I feel like if you don't have perfect skin prep, you're never going to have a perfect base, and I have really dry skin, so I have to make sure that I really moisturize my skin. So to start off with, I've used the Palmer's coconut oil. It's a body balm, but I actually use it for my face and it's done really well for my face. With the seasons changing, my face is literally flaking and it's terrible, so I need to make sure that I'm moisturized, not just with when I'm doing makeup but just in general. Next, I'm going in with the Weleda Skin Food. It's really thick, so if you don't have dry skin, I would recommend you use the Weleda Skin Food Light because it's a lot more lightweight. But if you have dry skin like me, this is perfect. This is a dream. This will get your skin right. I even use it sometimes without putting on makeup, like just to moisturize my face, because it's a really good product. So now that my skin is all prepped and it's moisturized, I go in with the e.l.f. Pro Grip Primer. This is the best ever primer. Like, I have come across a whole lot of different primers. I've used a whole lot of different primers. I went from not using primer to using primer to testing out these primers, and no primer compares to this. I'm just gonna go in and put it on my forehead and my chin and my cheeks. I actually learned how to use this product because I saw a lot of people saying that you're not meant to like massage it in like it's cream. Basically, you're meant to actually stretch it out as if it's like a layer on your skin, and that's the best way you'll be able to get a wear from it. So now that my face is all primed up, because I put so much moisturizer on, my face always goes a bit white when I put my primer on, but I don't mind that, it doesn't matter. So the next product I'm going to go in with is the absolute star of the show, and I've only recently learned how to use this product in terms of infiltrating it into my soft glam makeup routine, because this product is like a powder product, so it is good for oily skin. However, Danessa said that you should use it with the hydrating balm, but I don't have that, so I substitute how much moisturizer and what kind of way I infiltrate it into my skin routine. But it is perfect. This is the most perfect product, and it is the Yummy Skin Blurring Balm by Danessa Myricks. Everybody is going on about it. If you don't know about it, then get to know about this because it is the best product ever. It's made my makeup go from maybe a 7 to a 9.5. I'll even give myself a 10 on a good day. Like this. So I literally go in with a brush, straight in with the product, and I start working it in. And instantly, there's a difference. Some people actually use this as a primer. I don't. I use it as a cover up because I do have a bit of hyperpigmentation, even though that the Palmer's that I use is really, I don't know what is in this product, but it is really working. It's magic. Like, it is working. It's absolute magic for my skin. I don't know if it's the skin cell turnover or what, but it is producing some glowy skin this summer, guys. Like, it is making my skin look absolutely beautiful. So my hyperpigmentation has decreased a lot in the past 3 months. 3 months is even a stretch. I'd say maybe 2 months. But the Danessa Myricks is really good for covering up my hyperpigmentation and evening out my skin tone. I don't like to use too much product on my forehead, and that's just because that's just a personal preference. Some people don't like to put makeup on their forehead at all. I think that's madness, but I don't put as much just because I know that my forehead is the main place that I'm going to be bronzing, so I don't like to put too much product in the beginning stages on my forehead. And to be honest, not just the beginning stages, even when I'm bronzing, I don't put hardly as much bronzer as I used to. Now my face has the Danessa Myricks on, I go with my foundation, but because the Danessa Myricks is so good, I don't use half as much foundation as I used to. And one thing about the soft glam look, you have to put on products. Like, I know sometimes when people look at soft glam, they think, oh, this is like clean girl. Well, not necessarily clean girl, but it's more of less makeup and whatnot. As full glam, it is not. Like, it is basically the same amount, if not even more, because you have to make sure you're putting enough product to be able to get that soft look. It's still a glam look at the end of the day, so you have to make sure you're putting a product on. If there's one thing that I could tell you when you're doing soft glam, put on that product. The two foundations that I'm going in with today and the ones that I used for my birthday look were actually the Givenchy Prime Libra Skin Caring Matte and the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear. This is my holy grail. I've used this for so many years and I don't think I'll stop using it. This is my main foundation, and I got this last year and I've only recently started using it. There's actually a Skin Lover, which is like a not a satin, but the opposite of matte. The opposite of matte, and then there's the matte. So I picked up the matte because at the time when I got this, I was more into the matte look, but now I'm into the dewy look. So I kind of have to be careful with this product. I literally put a little bit, and because this is lighter than my actual skin color, I put a tiny bit, literally at the apples of my cheeks, and maybe at my chin. And I'll go in with the NARS, which is my actual color. I use the NARS in Balm, and I then apply a little bit more. Still not half as much as I used to. Apply a little bit at the forehead. That's it. That is probably even too much what I've applied, but I need to make sure that I have enough coverage on my face today because I actually am going out, so I need to make sure that everything is seamless, blended, and is all my color. Because I have a warm golden skin tone, I have a mixture between, I wouldn't say neutral, I do have some neutral concealers. A lot of my products are warm and yellow, so as much as I don't like yellow products, I feel like once you get deeper in skin tone, a lot of brands start to get yellower and yellower and yellower. So even though my skin tone is like, if you look, I'm golden and I'm warm, a lot of them are way too yellow for my skin, so I have to really be careful with the foundations, concealers that I use. And I'm not perfect, so sometimes I do use a bit too much of a golden concealer. So what I'm doing with foundation is I'm blending it out. I'm not going deep into the corners. I don't actually mind going into the corners because some people don't, because they want to make less layers, but for me, I need an even base. However, I do have creasing underneath my eye, so I kind of avoid deep underneath my eye, but I do go around here just so that I can have an even base for my concealer. I found that it works better for me. Some people don't like it, but it's what works for me. The base is finished. I absolutely love how these foundations layer up and sit on top of the Danessa Myricks. Even though two of the products are matte and the NARS is a more dewy finish, I always end up with a dewy finish just because of how much I've hydrated my skin. I love, love, love how it looks. So I'm going to go in with the contour, the blush, and get on with the routine. I both have the Curve Case and the Blush Balm stick. I prefer a Blush Balm stick just because I have more control of the product. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to contour along just under my cheekbones, because my cheekbones come out more when I do my makeup. I don't know what it is about it. So I literally go in just under, and not even under, like on top, but just underneath, just so that I can blend upwards. And because once you blend downwards, you're actually dragging your face down, so I put it right here. The positioning is so important. I go like this, right here, right here, right here. I then go in with my chin and I just put it right here. So I'm gonna put some here and some here. So with my routine, I would never actually contour my nose. I never used to do it just because I love the shape of my nose and I never thought that I needed to define it. However, when I would do my concealer, it would draw in at the sides of my nose anyways, and I didn't like how it would look without the bronzing. So what I do is I put a little bit of bronzer just on the outskirts of my nose, and I just draw in just on the sides a little bit. So that's literally it. That's all I do, and I leave it to set. So now blush. Blush is the most important step after the skin prep, I think, because it really sets the pace for how the look is going to look. And I don't use a powder brush because I've never really liked how powder blush finishes on the skin. I like to use cream products. That's my go-to. Currently I'm using the medium curve case. I mix the colors Peach Sugar, Sweet Cheeks and a Shy Boy. I'm a pink blush girl. I don't like an orange blush, so this is like a dream. So I get my brush and I'm literally just blending it in. Get the back of my hand and I just massage the brush into the back of my hand. This is how it looks. I'm happy with the color. So with this look, I'm always going to be blushing. From now on, I'm blushing. From here, I'm going to do my concealer, then I'm going to blush on top of that. I'm going to do my powder, I'm going to blush on top of that. And that's what I love about cream products, because you're really able to work with the product. So I bring my blush high because I have a round face, and anything other than that, I'm going to drag my face down. So I like to work in my concealer from the apples of my cheeks to my temple, and I draw it in a little bit just because I'm going to conceal, so I don't mind drawing my blush in closer to my face. When I go later in my routine, that's when I start to pay attention to the placement in the middle of my face with my blush. I've noticed when you have a rounded face, you have to really be careful with blush. Like, you actually have to be careful with blush because you're gonna end up looking like a strawberry. And I'm not really interested in a strawberry type of look. So I make sure that I'm layering my blush up because I'm about to get a brush and I'm about to blend out my bronzer and my blush, and your blush will actually end up disappearing. I don't know if anybody else has that, but if you put too little blush, your brush is going to disappear, bro. So you need to make sure that you are blushing enough, especially because it's a cream product and we're using all cream products on my face right now. So to get a seamless look, you're going to need to blend. So what I'm doing now is I am blending in my blush into the apples of my cheeks. It's drawing quite close into the middle of my face, but I don't mind that. After blending out my blush, I go in with some more blush. Like, I'm so serious, guys. I absolutely love a heavy blush look. If you don't, obviously don't put as much on, but I'm literally going to go in with the other brush, layer some more blush on top. If I don't do it now, I'm gonna have to do it later, and I don't like how it looks later. So I layer my blush, like I layer that bit. I am going in, working it in to the skin again with my brush. And everything is always better when you work in layers. You have to make sure you work in layers, and personally for me, I find that this works. From the apples of my cheeks again to my temple. You can see now with my face, it looks lifted a bit because I work my products in like this. I don't work my products in like that because I don't want to drag my face down. Okay? I don't want to be doing that. So the blush is now done. Now we're on to bronzer. My bronzer has been sitting, so it's going to be able to move a bit more. I have my bronzer obviously here, just on the chin and on this side. As you can see, it's now blended in seamlessly, and then I'm going to blend in this side. So this is generally just how I do it. I just pat in with my brush. Again, I like to use dense brushes just because it makes me be able to control my product a lot more. So I'm going to just blend in my bronzer on this side. I didn't put some here, but I normally do, but since I didn't put some here, I'm just going to get some product on here and I'm just going to move it a bit. Again, I'm blending upwards with my chin bronzer, and that is this side blended out. My bronzer is now blended out. I still do leave the bronzer on my nose just because I'm going to be going with my concealer and I like to blend it in all at once. So I'm going to go in again with my blush like I said, and I'm just going to get my blush brush and add more product. I'm telling you, it does look like a lot of product, or it is, I mean, it is a lot of product, I'm not gonna lie, but it does look like a lot of blush. But I'm telling you, you literally need it to be able to get the look like how I like. You need to be using this much blush because I love a warm bronze blush look. It's concealer time now. I'm gonna go in with the Too Faced concealers Born This Way. Some people don't like these products, but I find it works for me. As you can see, what I'm doing here is I'm basically just carving out my contour. I'm just gonna go in like this, just gonna add a little bit of a wing just by my eye, not too much. And this is how the chestnut looks on my skin. It's basically my skin color, so I like to have like a base or color correcting concealer. Again, just carving out my nose, and then I drag it down a bit. I'm gonna go in with my Born This Way in the color Warm Sand. So this is quite yellow, but it works well with my skin tone. So I'm going to show you how I put it in. So I just put it in here at the start, so you can see it is lighter than the chestnut. So I'm just going to put it here, not at the where my concealer is, because we're going to go in with another concealer, but just here. I'm going to start to work it in towards the end, and I'm going to go over everywhere I put my chestnut. Sorry, there's some hair in my face. But everywhere I put my chestnut, I'm going to go over it with some Warm Sand. That is my under eye for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to conceal the rest of my face. So I'm going to go in with the Warm Sand and the butterscotch again. And I'm just going to put a tiny bit of the butterscotch on my chin, the middle of my forehead. And I'm going to put a little bit just in the middle of my nose. Let me get my mirror. Let me not even try and be funny, because this will ruin my nose contour. Yeah, just a little bit in the middle of my nose, my Warm Sand, and just go over it a bit. I'm gonna leave my nose. I don't want to be playing with that one. This is how I get a crisp bronze. I'm gonna get my butterscotch, and I'm just going to carve out my face like this. And then I get my Warm Sand, and I just... And for the inner corner, I actually use my Ken Beauty in the shade Honey. This is the lightest concealer that I do have. I do need a lighter one, because this is quite yellow, and I want a lighter neutral so that I can put it in and I'm not worried about how much I put on. So I just get my concealer wand, and where I didn't put my my Warm Sand, I put my Honey. That is it with our concealer. We're not going to go in with any more concealers. I don't like to do one concealer then layer on top. I feel like that makes me feel like I have a lot more concealer than I actually do, so I don't do that. So it's been about 5 minutes. I've let my concealer dry down on my face. I don't let my inner corner dry down as much. That's why I end up putting it last on, just because if you dry down your inner corner, which I found, if I dry down my inner corner like the same amount as the outer corners, then it is a lot more difficult for me to blend out and control, and because I have creases under my eyes, we can't let that happen. So what I do is I go in with my hydrating mist. It's the Wee Cherie Jewel Face Setting Mist, and I shake it up because it's got cherry enzyme, and I just spray my face, get it ready for me to blend out. The one product which is a holy grail right now with my makeup is this, the Trigwell Powder Puff. I got it in the mini. So the mini, I have both the mini and the normal size one, but to blend out my concealer, I found that a brush was a lot harder for me, and I saw a lot of girls using this, and I was like, oh, maybe I should clock in. I'm gonna show you the order of how I blend out my face. So we're gonna start off with the bottom, and literally lightly patting. And then with my concealer that's here, I like to draw up, because I don't like too much bronzer. I just don't like too much bronzer, and then for my bronzer to draw out here, so I like to blend what's left up. And then I'm just going to blend my chin. With the concealers, I blend it out from the outwards to the inwards, because the outwards is the darkest bit, and I don't want to draw down the lighter bit. So from here, the apples of my cheeks, I'm blending, and I don't blend one side at one time. I'm blending both of them at the same time. That's how I find it works for me. I like to blend the both of them at the same time, so I know exactly how it looks. I like to drag up. I've just blended out my bottom bit. I've still got the middle bit and the top bit to blend out, but I'm going to go back in with my blush, and I'm going to blush because my blush is starting to disappear again. So I'm just gonna blush like this. However, I'm not going to blend it out yet. So I'm just gonna let my blush sit. And then I'm gonna go back in. That is me done in terms of blending out my concealer. So I'm gonna get my blush yet again, add some more on top. Now I'm going to get a brush and I'm going to blend out my bronzer. Literally, I just drag down a bit and then I start to pat it in. So now we're going straight in with powder. I'm not going to leave my concealer to sit too long because again, I do have creases. So with my powder, I do mix 3 powders for my under eye. I'm going to get my powder and I'm just going to work it in at the back of my hand with my big powder puff, and I literally just do this. Literally, I'm not shy with my powder. I'm not baking, I don't bake. I just go in from the front and I'm working it into my skin. Make sure you're using the back of your hand to filter your powder, because if you put it straight from the powder puff and put it into your powder on your lid and then go straight in your face, it'll be a disaster. You can't control the product. And the only thing that I have learned with makeup, the one thing, you have to make sure you're controlling it, because if you're not, the product is going to control you. So this is enough powder for my under eye. So what I do is I basically clean it off and I start to work it in. So for just the top of my lip, my Cupid's bow, I do use the powder that I use for the under eye, just so it has a seamless blend. But in terms of blending my powders in with the rest of my face, I use my Huda Beauty because the powder on my under eye would be too light. So I'm just going to get my Huda Beauty, just getting a bit, and I'm starting to powder. Again, I'm working in the back of my hand, carving out my face. What I do is I get my powder and I make this line. That's the only part of my face that I let kind of bake. But I do this after setting my face, to be honest. So is it really a bake or what? So as powdery as my face is right now, I'm still gonna go with my blush. I will never forget about my blush. I want to go in just here. The more and more we go on, we don't put as much on, but this side is looking a little less blushed than what I like, so I'm going to go in a bit more. So I'm going to get my powder puff again with the powder, and I'm just going to add some powder just to the apples of my cheeks, just so that I make sure that my blush doesn't draw in too much again. Whilst everything is basically setting, I go in with my Fenty Beauty Mocha Mami and I just go over my bronzed areas, my cheeks. Because the blush balm is like really pigmented, I don't go over too much. I used to use a lot more because the bronzer that I was using at the time wasn't as pigmented, but the blush balm works really well for me, so I don't go over it as much. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to get my brush, which is my Morphe brush. I absolutely love the Morphe brushes, by the way. I love the Morphe brushes, like these are the best brushes ever. So I'm just going to go in with the Morphe brush, a little bit on the brush, and I'm just going to drag in and set where I put my bronzer on my nose. Sometimes I don't even use the blush balm on my nose. I literally just use this, and that is enough for me. Perfect. So basically the whole face is done now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my big brush. It's like a kabuki brush, but a kabuki brush on an actual brush. I'm going to start blending. Literally just blend, blend, blend. After blending my face with my brush, getting my powders perfect, I then get my Mocha Mami again and I just add my bronzer to my eyelids just for colour, because I don't do eyeshadow for my everyday makeup look. My everyday soft glam, I don't do it. I don't enjoy doing eyeshadow, so I barely do eyeshadow. I don't like how eyeshadow actually looks on my face when I do it anyway, so I just like to get some bronzer and just lightly blend it out to my brow bone, blend it upwards. I always prefer to do my makeup when I have individuals, because it just looks, and I get to add my eyeliner, etc, etc. But because I don't have individuals, I'm not going to bother. I'm going to add lashes, of course, but I'm not going to bother to add any like eyeliner to make my eye more of a cat eye look. I don't like how it looks with strips. I'm going to go in with my Charlotte Tilbury airbrush spray. I need to get more of this. This is embarrassing. But I also go in with the Amelia Glow Milk Mist, and again my Wee Cherie spray. I'm going to go and put my lashes on, and then I'm going to come back and show you guys my lip combo. So the lashes have been applied. I've drawn in the camera closer because we're about to do my lip combo. With my lip combo, I always wipe my lips. Some people put the concealer or foundation over the lip to be able to get a clean base. I don't like that. I don't find it works well with me. So I wipe my lips, and I am now going to go in with my favorite ever lip liner in the Morphe. It's the Trendsetter. It's always sold out. But I literally bought like 6. When it came back into stock, I bought 6. That's how much I love it. So I get my lip in Trendsetter, and I literally just carve out the top of my lip like this. I don't overline too much just because I like the size of my lips, so I don't really need to overline, but I just overline enough just to make a shape. I'm just going to carve out this lip because my lip liner has bled a bit too much, so this brush just has a bit of concealer on it. So the lip is like this. What I then go in next with is my NYX Cosmetics in Hot Cocoa to line the outer of my lip. This is where we really start with the lip combo. I then go in with the NYX Cosmetics in Madeline. It is the butter gloss as well. I go with, this is my base color. So that is my base color. I then go in with my fortune cookie within the NYX butter gloss, and because it's so light, I don't like to put too much, and I don't like to put it straight on. That's why I use the Madeline. So I get my fortune cookie, I just put it in the middle a little bit. Then my fortune cookie has been added. So what I do is I get my hot cocoa again and just go in the top bit. My next product is the Made by Mitchell Bean Gloss in the shade Boo Thang. And I'm just going to go over the middle of my lips where I put my fortune cookie. I don't put too much at all. And this is how it looks. I think this is perfect. I think I'm just going to go over again with my hot cocoa just on the top of my lip, just because my nude has gone a bit too far out. The last product I use for my lips is the Kiko Gloss Hydro Gloss Staple. I have like all shades. Today I'm using the shade number 4. And I just got over my lips for an extra glossy look. So this is the look. I absolutely love how it came out. Gorgeous. I hope you guys love this makeup look. This is my first time doing a tutorial. Girlies were asking, so I came and I gave what y'all needed. I hope I gave you guys some tips, and I hope you learned something from this routine. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to come back. Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.